Darling, sit with me. Let the noise of the world fade for a moment, just you and me under this velvet sky. There's something I must say, and I want you to hear it not only with your ears but with your heart. Every heartbeat of mine has been loyal to you, every thought laced with your name. But I did something I must confess, not to hurt you, not to betray you, but to protect what we have. I lied. And before the storm clouds rush in, let me hold your hand through the truth I owe you. I remember the day I first saw you. Your eyes held galaxies I longed to explore. From that moment, I knew you would never be an ordinary chapter in my life, but the poetry inked across every page. And that frightened me. You see, I am not just Hamdan the man who loves deeply. I am Hamdan the crown bearer, the protector of a name heavier than gold, older than time. I had to lie, because the truth would have placed you in shadows you were never meant to live in. When I told you I was away on diplomatic matters, I wasn't only crossing borders, I was fighting storms that had your name written in the wind. There were forces trying to know you, track you, use your love for me as a weakness in their game. If I had told you, your heart would have shattered with fear. So I swallowed the truth and fed you calm, even when my own nights were torn with worry. Do you know how many nights I watched over you from a distance? Your window lit with soft light while I stood cloaked in silence, making sure nothing touched you, nothing. I wore my titles like armor, but inside, I was a man torn between the duty of a prince and the honesty of a lover. I lied, not because I didn't trust you, but because I trusted myself to carry the burden alone. You always asked why I seemed distant in moments when we were so close. It was not distance, my love, it was restraint. I wanted to tell you everything, but I feared what the truth might steal from us. I feared you'd run, not because you were weak, but because you are too precious for a world like mine. The palace corridors echo with secrets and expectations, and I couldn't let their weight fall on your grace. When I smiled and said, "All is well," I was dying inside from the effort it took to keep my kingdom and my queen safe. Every lie I told carved a mark on my soul. You deserve a love drenched in light, not in shadows, but in loving you. I found myself needing to hide parts of me, just until the world was kind enough to let us live freely. There were threats, whispers of plots aimed at the throne through the woman who owned my heart. They watched your steps, traced your smiles, and I had to draw a veil between you and their gaze. Forgive me for not telling you then. I couldn't allow your soul to carry the weight of danger when it was born to blossom, not to battle. Do you remember the poem I sent without a name? That was me, darling. The desert burns, yet I shield the rose. It wasn't just art, it was my confession in silence. I whispered truths into verses because my position did not allow declarations. But my love, my real love, has never been silent. It roared like a falcon through every moment I thought of you. Now the storm has passed, and I see you standing here, still with me, still glowing. I owe you everything. And it's time you knew it all. The truth was a garden I wanted to walk you through when it was safe, not a battlefield to drag you into. My lies were shields, not swords. Every hidden word was spoken in love, not deceit. Look into my eyes now. You will see the truth behind every hesitation, every delay, every unexplained absence. I was not running away. I was building a fortress where your love could live unbothered. You were never alone in those moments. My heart was with you, even when my presence was not. And now, as we stand on the other side, I give you my whole self. No more shadows, no more guarded truths. You deserve clarity, and I offer it with reverence. My love for you is not just real, it is eternal. You were never a secret. I was just trying to make the world worthy of your light before unveiling our truth. So forgive me, my darling, not for lying, but for loving you so deeply that I was willing to bear your pain so you wouldn't have to. One day, you'll understand fully. But for now, just know this, everything I did because you were my heart's greatest treasure. Darling, if I could gather every star that witnessed my silence, I would lay them at your feet and ask for your understanding. This truth I unveil before you. It was always burning inside me like the flame of a desert lantern, hidden, guarded, but never extinguished. I didn't lie because I didn't love you. I lied because I loved you beyond the simplicity of words, beyond the poetry of vows. I lied because I knew the moment you became mine, the world would no longer leave you untouched. I used to watch you sleep and wonder, How could something so peaceful, so innocent, be tethered to someone like me, born into storms and steel? Your eyelashes fluttered like the wings of mercy, and I promised myself you would never cry for reasons tied to my throne. That was the night I decided, if the truth would harm you, even for a heartbeat, then I would hold it back until I could shield you with both my arms and my power. My lie was a vow in disguise, a promise of protection, not deception. There were times I longed to fall apart in front of you, to cry like a man stripped of his crown, to let my fears tremble in your arms. But I couldn't. I had to be more than a lover. I had to be your guardian in silence, your warrior from afar. And if that meant you thinking I was cold, distracted, distant, then so be it. Because my distance was my sacrifice, my silence was my strategy, and my lie was my last line of defense between your peace and my peril. When I sent you away that weekend, telling you it was for your safety, I said it like it was nothing. But I stayed up all night that evening, praying your flight would not be followed, praying no eyes lingered too long. I paced the halls like a madman wearing the mask of royalty, smiling for cameras while burning inside. Every moment you spent unaware was a victory, because it meant you were still untouched by the cruelty of palace games and Do you know what it's like to love someone so much that you would rather them hate you than hurt with you? That was my burden. I would have taken every dagger, every headline, every threat, and etched them into my own soul, if only it meant you could keep dancing freely under the moonlight. My darling, your laughter was too divine to be muffled by whispers of danger. I carried those whispers alone because I couldn't bear the sound of your fear. But now the pieces are beginning to fall into place. The threat has been extinguished, the names unmasked, the plots dismantled. You're safe, truly safe, and it's only now that I can return to you not as a guarded man, but as the one you first fell in love with. The man who stared too long when you entered the room, who forgot how to breathe when you smiled. I missed being him. I missed being yours without the weight of secrecy pressing on my chest. I know I can't undo the silence, nor the moments where you questioned everything. I know your heart must have cried in confusion. But please understand, it was never because I didn't want you beside me, it was because I couldn't allow the world to pull you into my fire. If love is truth, then let me speak now with nothing held back. I love you beyond time, beyond thrones, beyond names written in gold. I love you in the language of sacrifice. There's something sacred about love that survives the fire. Ours did. You didn't walk away when you sensed I was hiding something. You stayed. You waited, even when your heart begged for clarity. That patience, that loyalty, it broke me. And now, I rise from the ashes of everything I hid, ready to love you in the open, under the sun, not just under the veil of night. Let us build now, not on hidden foundations, but on stone carved from truth. Let me reintroduce myself, not as the prince, not as the man with duties and burdens, but as the one whose soul has belonged to you from the beginning. No more lies, my queen. Only truth, only devotion, only the kind of love that writes its name across destiny with hands that no longer tremble in fear. So come to me now. Let me hold you not with guilt but with gratitude. Let the past be a lesson, not a prison. I had to lie, yes, but only so that one day, like now, I could tell you everything without shadows following our every step. And that day has arrived. You will understand, my love. You already do. Because you see not just the crown, but the man behind it who would risk everything to keep your world intact. Darling, as I look into your eyes now, there's a trembling in my soul that no title could ever steady. Do you feel it too? This trembling is not weakness, it is the raw, unmasked power of love that has survived both silence and storm. I stand before you, not as a prince of a powerful bloodline, but as a man stripped to his truth, finally able to speak freely. Every moment I lied, I counted the seconds until I could one day say this to your face. I did it all for you. Not for duty. Not for pride. But because you are my most fragile, most precious truth in a world where very little is ever truly ours. I remember how your voice would drop whenever you asked, "Is there something you're not telling me?" It cut deeper than 1,000 enemies ever could. I wanted to pull you into my arms right then and tell you everything. But the timing was never kind. The world was watching, waiting, praying. I would have rather been the villain in your dreams than the reason someone dared to dim your light. But now, here we are, Past the danger, past the shadows, and if you still want to know, I will tell you everything. I owe you not just the truth, but the gentleness of it, the reverence your heart has earned. There were nights I wrote your name on parchment and burned it in silence, hoping the flames would carry my prayers to the skies. I didn't ask for forgiveness back then, I only asked for one more day where you'd still love me, still believe in what we had, even if it felt fragile. You believed in me without even knowing the whole picture. That is a kind of love that empires are built upon. And I promise you this, now that the clouds have cleared, your name will never again be hidden in the shadows. It will be carved into the stone of my world, seen, honored, and adored. I see the tears in your eyes, and I know they are not only from pain, but from the release of knowing the truth. I see you still standing here, and I realize I never lost you, though I feared I would. I love you with the force of every falcon's flight, every desert wind that has howled across my homeland. I love you with the silence I endured and the words I now pour at your feet. Let me be yours again, not just in the stillness of secret gardens, but in the light of day, in front of the world, if that's what you wish. Tell me what you feel, my queen. Tell me if your heart still beats in rhythm with mine, even after all the pauses. Because if it does, then I swear on my soul, there will be no more veils, no more locked doors between us. I will make you my truth, my public devotion, my eternal companion. Let the world see what I once hid, that the fiercest prince of this land bows only for the woman who owns his soul. Let the palace echo not with secrets, but with poetry made of your name. So here is my final confession, I did lie. But I never once stopped loving you. And now, if you'll allow me, I will spend the rest of my days showing you what that love looks like in its purest, brightest form, without fear, without distance, and without end. Come. The night has ended. The sun has risen on a love that was never meant to be hidden. Let's